All right, welcome back. This is something that's quite interesting. I wasn't really expecting this to be too interesting, this whole part of the app, but we've actually gotten more views on the last two videos than many of the prior ones, and I thought it was just going to keep going down until we get to the point where we're maybe marketing the app or something like that. But for whatever reason, the app rejection part of the story, I guess, seems like people are somewhat interested in it for some reason, which is interesting from my perspective as the person creating these videos. I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying to just keep going is the only thing that I have in mind. I just, like I've said many times before, that the thing that I believe is just that if you just keep going with something, at some point it's going to succeed. You're either going to quit or it's going to succeed. But that's also is that called an oxymoron? Something that's like, I don't know if that's what it's called, but it's one of those things where you're like, obviously that's true. Like, either you quit or it's going to, like, if you just don't quit, at some point it's going to succeed. I don't know if that is a truth, because like at some point you're not going to have any time left to work on something. But I don't know. I have obviously I wouldn't continue working on this for like 30 years if it never went anywhere, I don't think. But so there is a time span. But I think most people quit or stop, me included in this, because I am really actually talking about myself most of this. In the past, I've done so many apps where I've just like quit, not because, well, maybe because it didn't really pan out straight away, or it wasn't consciously. I've always had the belief that like, yes, I could probably make it work if I kept going, but I've just gotten to points where it's like, okay, now I'm no longer like interested in continuing with this. And so I've moved on to something else, and now I really want to test the hypothesis of not switching tasks, if that makes sense. Just like go all in on this thing and do that for as long as you possibly can. Just try to stretch that as far as you can. And if at the end of that you didn't get anywhere, at least you did go all in on it, and you didn't just give up because you got bored of the idea. And obviously there's a lot of reasons why I would continue with this specific idea. The main reason really that I'm hopeful in this case is that I've gotten so much positive feedback from you all that are watching these videos. A lot of positive feedback about the idea as a whole. Like, I haven't really thought that the idea, or I have had the sort of belief that it's a good idea, but it's really interesting because since I've done this in the past on YouTube, it means that I have a lot of experience coding an app of some kind and showing people it on YouTube. And I've gotten a lot of feedback in terms of comments on these ideas in the past. It's usually positive. I wouldn't say that it's negative in other scenarios, but there's a different kind of positivity with this particular idea, where I feel like maybe it's not a huge difference online, but in real life, when I talk to people about this idea, it's a ginormous difference in how it's perceived when I explain it compared to how any other app idea I've ever had has been perceived or received. And the main telling point for me, or the most telling thing for me, is that if I explain the idea to someone, a friend or something, they get invested in the idea. They are like coming up with their own ideas for like this, maybe you should try this, or have you thought about this thing, or this would be really cool, or whatever. Like they get excited about it. And the fact that that happens tells me that there's something here. I don't know if it's real. I don't know if it will work in the real world, but there's something about this idea that does trigger people to get excited. And that tells me that even if I just find one person, one friend that gets excited about the idea the same way that I'm excited about it, or even more, that tells me that this person is not unique. There are millions of people like that person out there, which is also a lesson learned from YouTube, is that you think you're very unique. You think that your thoughts are completely your own and that no one else thinks like this, or you think like that a lot, or I used to think like that a lot, at least. Maybe I was just stupid, I don't know, but I definitely used to think that I was so different and no one else really had the same things that I have, and no one else has feels nervous in social situations or whatever it could be. But then you start sharing thoughts like that on YouTube and you realize that, well, almost everyone that's watching has had the exact same thoughts that I have, not just the same theme of concern, but the same exact thought. And it's really humbling because it makes you realize that, okay, I'm not unique at all. And that means that if I explain the idea to a friend and they get more excited than I am about the idea, that means that there are probably millions of people out there that would get just as excited. And that excitement I take as a signal that if I find those people, if I can get the app in front of those types of people, then they will get excited about using it too. Which I should also say that my doubt here is that I don't know if those two things are exactly the same. Because you might be excited about the idea because you think that, oh, this is a great idea for other people, but you don't think it's a great idea for you, or you wouldn't use it. But it seems like an idea that would be used, if that makes sense. But when you think about it yourself, you might realize that, well, would I really use this? And that's what the whole discussion about what sounds like a good idea and what is a good idea. The difference there is hard to pinpoint. And but all that I have to go off is people's reactions to it and my own belief in it. And so far, every metric that I can use to assess whether this is a good idea or not, all of those metrics are pointing to this being a really good idea. So that's why I feel confident enough to invest a significant amount of both my own money and time into this idea. I'm risking a lot by doing this whole thing because I have two channels. I have the channel that you're watching right now, which is where I do this live, low effort. I don't edit the videos that much. And I just try to really document every single thing that I do on the app so that if it is successful at some point, then there will be a series documenting from day one till like from day one until we're profitable, let's say, exactly what happened, exactly the whole journey. And it's just one of those things that I think would be so cool to have in even that scenario. But up until that point, when you're not successful, it's not super interesting to watch, because it's like, yeah, this guy's building this random app that might not be anything. He might quit, he might whatever, it might not pan out. And so I'm acutely aware of the fact that these videos have less value now and will have more value if the idea, like the difference in value of these videos, if the app is successful versus if it's not successful, is going to be like incomparable, I think. Because watching someone build an app that is not successful, I don't know how much value there is in that. There is one part of it, there's some value to it, I guess, which is that, or that's what I'm sort of hoping as well, is that what I can show you here is that it doesn't take a lot to build an app. It doesn't take a lot of, like, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I'm not the best developer in the world. I'm not the best YouTuber in the world. I'm not the best of anything. And I'm actually maybe even quite poor at all of these things. And so hopefully that can lower the bar for people, essentially. Like, watching me, you might think like, well, if he can do this, then I could do it too. And that's also one of my goals. Like, just look now at where the app is at, and then go back to, like, I don't know, 6 months ago, or a year ago, or whenever it was that I started. And you'll see that, okay, this took a long time to get to just this point. But what's also encouraging, I hope, is that all it took was continuing to show up and continuing to try. But the risk that I'm taking is that I'm also converting these videos into like shorter videos on my main channel, which is a different YouTube channel. And those videos are getting absolutely no views. They're getting views compared to this channel, but compared to that channel, they're not performing well at all, which again is a big risk, because that's where I make my money. That's how I like sustain myself for doing this. But I genuinely have this deep belief that I think I can make something happen with this if I just don't quit. And so I'm going to take that risk, and I'm hoping that the risk that I'm taking here, that there's sort of a yin and a yang in the universe, where if you don't take any risk, you're not going to get anything out of it. And the risk that I'm taking isn't huge, so like, I don't know. It seems like it's worth it to me. And that's also based on all of the feedback from the app, or from the idea. So, yeah, long story short, let's continue with this, because I'm realizing that we need to avoid my tendency to try to be fast with things. And we need to do it thoroughly instead of quickly. And so what we need to do is, one of you guys actually pointed it out in a comment, which is that what you really need to do is you can't just assume that the tester is going to act as a male on the app. You have to allow the tester to be able to test every gender out, and all of them should work, which is frustrating to hear, because it means that the work that we did last time, we need to do that times 3, I think. Let's have a look. Everyone, actually you have to do it times 4. So everyone non-binary. Okay. Yeah, we have to do it times 4. So it means that we need to have fake profiles that are available that the tester can match with. Maybe we can do this an easier way anyway. Okay, so what I was thinking was that we need a pool of user for each gender type, and then the tester can decide that they're interested in either gender type, and it doesn't really matter. They will always have people there to match with, and they will be unique to that gender. But what I'm realizing is also that we might not have to make it more difficult for ourselves than we need to for for a testing scenario. And so what we could do, because here's what I'm thinking, how to solve, because we have a problem, which is that how do we keep users online that aren't actually online? And the way to solve that is to create a function on the back end that essentially tracks certain users and keeps them online, even if they're not online. But how do you know which users to keep alive and which users to not keep alive, if that makes sense? I don't know what the best practice here is, but one way that I thought of that we could do this is we could add a flag to each user that says that they are a test user. And if they are a test user, then they remain online, they never go offline, and they remain in the wait list to get connected with someone. But that also means that what we could do actually is if is that we could make it so that if the user is a test user, then they can get matched with any gender, if that makes sense. So they can get matched with a guy, they can get matched with a girl, they can get matched with a non-binary or other or whatever options we have. Because then we don't need to create like 40 different random users. We just need to create like 10 users, and then we can have their gender be ambivalent, or whatever you'd call that. And it means that if, the tester will always have someone to match with. Because the thing is, we don't want to break anything. I actually have a pretty good idea for how we could do this. I'm going to have a look at the edge function and then state handler code. So we'll see gender pref. Okay, so if user.gender preference and user.gender, okay. So what we want to add here, I think, is we want to change this so that we add an or statement. So let's say that we set that the gender of a test user is equal to test. And that means that we will bypass this gender matching thing, and we'll just say that if we'll do this check, but if one of the user's gender is equal to test, then automatically just match them. I think that's a good idea. Yeah. So first of all, I'm going to ask, okay, I actually think this is a good way to solve it, so I'm going to say that we're going to solve it this way. right, we'll see what this will do. I'm going to go here. Actually, let's run it again just to see what happens. Okay. Now their gender should be test. Yes, so all of them are test. That's good. Anna is not test, but is that this one? No, that's Sasha. Because what I want to do now is I want to, first of all, reset their gender. So I'm going to set her gender now to be, strange because it worked on the phone for some reason. Okay, so this did change to man now because I reset it to man. Sasha was her name, so we're going to change Sasha to woman. Good. And then we'll run it. Check. Okay, good. Now start connection. Start connection, we'll just see that they match, but they do not match. Why not? Come back later, start connection. Now they get connected. I don't know why they didn't get connected before. But let's also test, let's reset them again. And then test if we change her gender to be a man, then they shouldn't match. And it seems like they do not match. But if we changed it back, Does she match now? Save. Yeah, now they match. Okay, so that means that we've tested the gender thing. So we know that they will match. We'll reset this. And then we will change her gender to test. So Sasha, test. Okay. What should happen now is they should match. Hopefully. But we're going to run it again just to make sure that the gender did change. I'm going to start a connection here and then start a connection. And they do match. So what happens if we like each other? It's a match. Then we'll leave. Okay, matches. Let me see if I... Okay, and on the app, I can also see that the gender is equal to test down here. So that's good. One thing that we do need to do is we need to change all of these names to have test in them. So that we are not caught for like deceiving or anything like that, because that's not what we want. Because I don't know really how this works. It has to be very obvious that these are test users. Okay, so now all of them are set as test users. Okay. Now the next thing is that we need to keep them online. Heartbeats, do we have one of those? All right, now we have a lot of users in the test or in the wait list. The question is just expire at. Okay. So let's copy that and let's see if we can figure out, because I believe that we have some sort of joined at expire at. Okay. We need some sort of way to make sure that they don't expire from the waitlist. So we need to first of all figure out how does the waitlist work. But it might be something that we can set when we're doing this. "30 days might be a little bit too much. So maybe we want to have them remain like 10 days. I don't know how long it takes for the testers to do the tests, but sometimes it takes a while, I think. So we're going to have them remain in the waitlist for 10 days. Because obviously I will rerun this whenever I might need to. Okay, so that's all that you need really. Okay, this means that what will we have? We will have users that are available to test with. Okay, insert into waitlist, and then paste, run. That way they will not expire until in 10 days. What happened? Now we have 10 users here. Expire at the 3rd of November. Okay. This we now have to test, obviously. So let's go to my app, start a connection. I get connected to a test user. I will skip to the next one. I get connected to a test user again. I'll leave. Okay, good job. Now the question is, do these test users remain? No, they get removed, so that's good. They get removed from the wait list. I don't know if that's good actually, because I don't know how many calls this guy's going to test or how many genders he's going to test, but I can, I guess, supply that information in the notes so that I can tell him like there's going to be 10 test users and they're going to be available for either gender that you choose or either gender preference that you choose. but you're just going to get to see them so that you see that, like, okay, I can match with someone. Add test users to waitlist. Let's just do that. And then do that. Okay. Table, waitlist 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So we have 10 users that are all in the test. They are ready to be tested. Now the next thing is going to be to just wait a long time and see, will they remain, or do I have some cleanup function that I don't really remember that might be cleaning this up? But I don't think I do. And honestly, I think this is going to be it for the next submission to the App Store, because we could take this one step further, which is also to figure out a system to have like pre-recorded voice notes so that the person on the other end can tell that, okay, the voice function works. But I don't even know how to go about that, to be honest. Because we'd need some sort of, I don't know how we would even do it. I'm going to ask Claude after I've just said this thing that I'm about to say, but I think we don't really need it. I think, or I pray and hope that we don't need it if I also add a video explainer of how the app is supposed to work and what the idea is. Because if I add that explainer into the notes of the submission, then I think if they can just test it by like going through a few people and seeing that, okay, I can like, I can dislike, I can do whatever, then they might get enough data to see that it works. And then I can do, because if I do the demo, then they'll see what the app actually is about. Because right now, if you were to test this app and didn't know what it was or like quite understand it, then you would just get connected with a user that won't speak back to you. So you will just speak and you'll see these lines move on the screen, but you might not understand what the whole idea of the app is. So maybe at that point, it could still be assumed that this is the same type of app that already exists, like Tinder or any other dating app of your choice. So I don't want to I don't know, maybe we'll have to add like fake voice notes and stuff like that into it. But I'm praying and hoping that this, along with an explainer video, will be enough to gain the trust of this tester that I'm up against. But yeah, I guess there's really... Is there anything else that we need to do? What happened? Why did they all get removed? Okay, so we need to make sure that we check this or fix that. I mean, but it's very strange that one person remains. Okay. So user ID 7B7. I'm going to test a theory that I have. Is that Sasha? 7B7, yes, that's Sasha. So this person is still online and that's why they didn't get removed. They're all gone. Okay, now we have 10 users here. They shouldn't get removed. Fingers crossed. Yeah. Now we'll just have to wait for a bit. But I think that's it. So let's have a look at what they said. So steps to launch the app. Okay, so the one-time code didn't work, but I think it should work. So we're hoping that it will next time. The test app supported devices to identify so guide design. We noticed an issue in your app. Okay, that has been solved. That was basically they sat and waited in the start connection stage because they pressed that button and then there was no one online. So obviously they would just end up waiting, but there was still an issue, which is that should you really be able to sit and wait for eternity without a message? So I think that the standards for Apple is that you should never have an infinite loading screen that you can just sit and wait behind. You should give some sort of message to the user. So we added that. So now when you go to start connection, if there's no one online, you'll sit there for like 30 seconds or 20 seconds or something. I think it was 30. And then you get a message that says, there seems to be no one online right now. Do you want to continue waiting or do you want to go back? And then you can press whatever you want. And if you say that you want to continue waiting, then it will wait for like 5 more minutes, I think. And then it will come back again. And if you press that you want to continue waiting again, then I don't know what we do. But I think at that point, it's fair enough if you want to sit and wait in front of that screen. And And you obviously, I think, should be allowed to do that too. And then the second one is the spam thing, which I think can be solved if we just make sure that the tester actually knows what the app is and can actually test the real thing. So yeah. I guess now we just check here. Okay, we have archived it, so yeah, we can add the new build and submit the next one. But we also need to do type out all the explanations and that stuff, which I think we can do. Actually, we might as well just do this now. So we're going to copy this. And we're going to paste it into ChatGPT, and we're going to explain the concept to ChatGPT first and say that what happened in the review. Okay. Okay, that was a pretty good response, or a pretty good way to do this, I think. So thank you for taking the time to review Quora. I've carefully reviewed your feedback and made several important updates and clarifications. So one-time code or one-time blah, blah, whatever it means, I forget every time. Delivery bug performance. I identified and fixed the issue that prevented blah, blah, blah. I don't really know if I'm going to have all of this stuff because I haven't done all of that. I hope that it works now, but I'm not entirely sure, and I don't know how to test it other than with my own phone and with other people's phones. But have tested that stuff before and it has worked, so I don't know why it didn't work now. 2. Connection delay clarification design. I understand that during the previous review, the app appeared to be loading indefinitely when starting a connection. This was not a bug. The app depends on other users being online to establish a voice match. Is that really good? No, not really. A voice match? No. Establish a match. Because no users were available during the review, it appeared to be stuck. To make this clear and improve the user experience, I've added a pop-up message after 30 seconds. There's no one online right now. Would you like to keep waiting or go back? A second message after 5 minutes. A back button so the user can, well, that was already there. In addition, I've now created a pool of 10 users that the reviewer will be able to connect with during testing. These users have names ending with tester and include profile pictures. They are non-interactive accounts designed purely for review purposes so that the matching process can complete successfully. If active two-way interaction is required for testing, I will add that functionality in the next review cycle. These test users will not be accessible in the live version of the app. I think that's important so that the reviewer knows that I'm not gonna have fake users in my app. Unique concept clarification. Quora is not a traditional dating app. It introduces a voice-first experience that reverses the typical online dating flow. I think that was a really good sentence, actually. Instead of swiping on photos, users begin with a 5-minute voice call with a randomly matched person based on gender preference, and distance could be another thing that we'll add. Each call starts with both profile photos blurred, and the image gradually becomes clear as the conversation progresses. The idea is that people connect emotionally before they see each other, making the experience more authentic and personality-driven. This format combines elements of Love is Blind and Omegle, but applies them to dating, creating a new and distinct category on the App Store. Summary, blah, 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 what was fixed. I think that was a really good thing. Now what we also need to add is we need to add the link to the explanation where I will demo the app for them so that they actually understand it more deeply. I will also add a demo video where and that's where I think I have an advantage because I am a YouTuber by trade. So I can hopefully make a good video explaining it, and I have the equipment to do so. And I'm used to talking to a camera. So I'm hoping that I can increase my chances a little bit by doing that. Video demonstration. To help clarify the concept flow, I've added a short 60-second demo video where I personally demonstrate the app explain its core idea. You can view it here. All right, so now the next thing that I have to do is I have to like stop this video and then just make the demo thing, which I've said that I'm going to make for like a week now, and I haven't made it. But now I don't think there's anything else that we really need to do. We just need to make a demo video. And then that's it. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope I will finish this today and send it in for review so that in the next video that you will see of me, we will have a response from the review team. And yeah, I'm putting a lot of effort into this, which does scare me a little bit because we're not like I'm putting a ton of effort into it, but I'm pulling out all of the cards that I have up my sleeve for this particular review, which means that if they don't approve it, then I don't know how many more things I have up my sleeve that I could use, which is kind of scary. But I guess we're gonna go at them guns blazing and hope that it will, like, that something will take it down or take them down and put my app up. I don't know. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope I'll see you in the next one, and I hope it will be approved by then, but we'll see.